Give it another 30 seconds or so for attendees to straggle in, and then we'll get started. Okay, I think it's time we can get started. Welcome to the Healthy, Move More Physical Activity series. Today's webinar is about eating and exercise and how to fuel your body. My name is Carol Warheit. I'll be leading this webinar. I'm the Physical Activity Program Manager for Healthy. And joining me today is Erica Owen. She is the Program Manager for the Healthy Nutrition Program.
Hello.
I'm so glad to have you here, Erica. Truly.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Carol.
Before we start, I just wanted to let you know that we will take the last 5 to 10 minutes to answer your questions. Feel free at any time to submit them. If we don't get to the questions before the end of the webinar, I will answer them in a separate email. And the plan is to send out the PowerPoint presentation to you all, and then additionally answers to any questions that you may have. So let's get started. So just a quick agenda. The next 30 minutes, these are the topics we plan to cover. We're going to talk about scheduling meals around physical activity, fueling the body for exercise. We'll talk a little bit about energy balance, what to eat before and after exercise, and the importance of staying hydrated. All right, so we're going to start off talking about the scheduling of meals. We want to schedule meals around exercise sessions. A regular eating pattern scheduled around physical activity is the most effective way to avoid a sluggish workout. So the main goal is to make sure that our blood sugar is optimal for exercise. We don't want to go into an exercise program with low blood sugar. Some of those symptoms of low blood sugar are dizziness, lightheadedness, shakiness, and headaches, just to name a few. Low blood sugar typically results from not eating regularly scheduled meals throughout the day. Typically, we're looking to have something to eat every 3 to 6 hours, depending on the schedule. If you already suffer from issues with low blood sugar, then you're looking more every 2 to 3 hours. You want to make sure that you eat breakfast to prepare you for the day. I know some of you are probably wake up in the morning 5:30 and you just want your coffee and you want to just hit the road. We'll be talking about why breakfast is important. Also, it's the most important meal of the day. If you think about it, if you go to bed, let's say at 10 o'clock at night and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, if you had eaten right before bed and were going to eat first thing when you wake up, that's still 8 hours where you weren't eating. Now, most of us probably don't have a snack right before bedtime and don't eat first thing when you wake up. So an example is I will eat my dinner at 6:30 in the evening, and then I'm not a nighttime snacker. I'm too interested in going to bed than I am having a late night snack. So if I go to bed at, let's say, 9:30 and then get up at 5:30 and don't eat till 6, we're looking, that's a good almost 9 hours of not having anything to eat. So that's a long time to wait. Even the word breakfast, you're talking about breaking the fast from the night before. So these are big reasons why we want to have something for breakfast. Having an optimal blood sugar will prepare you for exercise at any time, and this is whether you're a morning exerciser, lunchtime exerciser, or someone who exercises in the evening. Next slide is fuel for the body. Erica, you might have to chip in on some of this stuff.
Sounds good.
So we talk about macronutrients. So the key macronutrients, we have protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So protein is used for muscle development and repair. Having a little bit of protein before a workout isn't a bad idea. You have too much of it, it will sit in the stomach for an extended amount of time, making exercise difficult. Carbohydrates, one of my favorite things, is the main energy unit used by the body. So with carbohydrates, these will give you a little bit the energy you needed and will exit your stomach quickly. Fat is the essential macronutrient used for organ protection and vitamin absorption. If you have a meal that's high in fat, the stomach will delay in emptying and could impact your exercise program. So the question is, what should I eat immediately, like within 30 minutes before an exercise program? We want a carbohydrate-rich snack with a small amount of protein. And we want to choose carbs that are easily digestible. Now, Erica, with this, what are examples of carbohydrates that wouldn't be easily digestible? First thing that comes to my mind is one of those 10-gram fiber kashi bars, but I might be wrong.
You're absolutely right, Carol. In talking about carbohydrate rich, obviously that's, a lot of people know what carbohydrates themselves are. And the harder digestible, that's I'm good at English, is it? So you can have easily digestible foods or ones that are a little more difficult. And if you're eating right before exercise where you need immediate energy, you want those ones that are easily digestible. So that is when they're, quote, more processed. We usually don't advocate that we want you eating more processed food, so it sounds a little odd. But sometimes if you're just like on your way to the gym or you wake up and you're just going right into exercise, you need something quick and quick carb to get your blood sugar up, things like juice, like a half a cup of juice can increase your blood sugar enough to sustain a small amount of activity. Now, you could add some protein to that, which will help your body digest it a little more slowly. So instead of doing a 20-minute walk, you're going to go out for a 45, or you're going to exercise for an hour. Then you need a little bit of something to slow the digestion. So having milk has milk sugar, which is the carbohydrate, and it has protein. So that is something like an 8-ounce glass of milk can really give you a lot of quick, sustainable energy for exercise.
And then after an exercise session, we want meals that have protein and carbohydrates again. This will help aid in keeping the blood sugar level stable and helps us do muscle repair. We will talk about before and after snacks a little bit later on in the presentation. So the next slide is about burning calories. Well, before we even talk about what's on the slide, I want to say you have to eat in order to exercise. So the body needs energy in order to get through an exercise session. And face it, we were built to eat. We can't get by without eating. Now, if your goal is to lose a few pounds during the exercise session or exercise program, you want to balance eating and exercising. So we're looking for healthy eating patterns. Food is the fuel we need in order to burn these calories. And with increased exercise comes increased calorie burn. You want to make an important point here is that some diets tell you to eat less and exercise more, but creating a lifestyle involves balancing the eating with activity. Even though eating less and exercising more may work in the short run when it comes to burning calories and losing weight, it does not promote sustainability.
And I think it has to do with the extremes as well, Carol. So people will cut their calorie intake way back and increase their activity a lot. And those two don't always balance each other. Because as you've noticed here, when you increase your exercise, your body is looking for more fuel because you're burning fuel. So you have to provide your body with enough fuel to get through the activity the most effectively, the most efficiently, so that your body will actually want to respond to your exercise. So having small meals, maybe, not having a large amount of decreased calories, but taking them down slowly and spreading them more throughout the day so that you're not having this enormous deficit and feeling starved all the time.
Just keeping fuel to the fire. You're not going to stack a whole bunch of wood and then try to light the fire. You just do it a little bit at a time.
You got it. Yep.
One of my coworkers loves the quote, "It takes money to make money." So we're talking about feeding your body the right food, and it will help you produce the right results. So look at food. It's an investment. You feed your body so your body will work for you. That's by putting good food into your body, and it will produce the good results.
And think about things over a longer term, too. Some people say, well, you know, oh my gosh, it wasn't good, in quotations, good today. You know, I ate a few more calories today, or I walked 15 minutes less today. Look at your intake and your burn over like at least a week period and average it out. And that way you allow yourself to be a little more kind to yourself.
It's a good point, Erica. I like that. And to go along with that, it's when we're putting good food into our body, these aren't just on the days we're exercising. It's not just before your exercise session or after. We're talking about days where you don't even exercise. The food that you take in impacts any exercise session you have, even if it's not on the same day. All right, the FIT principle and energy. So one of the terms that we use, we talk about the FIT principle with physical activity, and it stands for frequency, intensity, and time. So frequency is the number of days per week when you exercise. Intensity is how hard is this exercise session? And time, how long does the exercise session last? All those play a role in what kind of food that you need to be using as fuel. So an example, a short 10-minute walk may not need a pre-exercise meal, but you still want to be sure that you have a normal eating pattern during a day. If you woke up after breakfast and took a walk, it could be in the first 10 minutes you start not feeling very well because you are depleted of energy from the day before. A longer session, maybe a 30 to 60-minute aerobic session, weightlifting, doing Zumba, would need fuel before starting. So we're looking at a snack consisting of a small amount of protein with a majority of it being carbohydrates. Even if you are a morning exerciser, you still need food. Again, I know not everybody wants to be open to that if you're used to having just that cup of joe for your morning breakfast, but it's still a good idea to get your body moving first thing in the morning with a light meal. Eating habits before exercise. So some food examples 2 to 4 hours before workout. We're looking in the calorie range of 300 to 500. So it'd be a fruit and veggie and a yogurt smoothie. Some of you probably think a veggie smoothie, but hey, I know that spinach and kale is all the rage right now with putting in a smoothie with adequate amount of fruit. Oatmeal with almonds and skim milk, peanut butter and honey on a wheat toast, turkey and Swiss sandwich with fruit, and maybe having a little bit of a sports drink with it.
I encourage you to think about this as not an extra item. If you exercise when you are on your way home from work or right after work, let's say it's 5 and you ate lunch about like 1-ish, or you're finishing up lunch around 1, that is the 4 hours beforehand. It's not as if you need to add something in there. You might if it's been a little more than that and you tend to get those afternoon munchies anyway, where your blood sugar is starting to crash, and that's when having that small amount of carbohydrate can just give you a little pep before you get into the workout.
And then for food examples, maybe a half an hour to an hour before workout, we're looking for a bit less calories. The basic idea is to make sure the amount of food is in balance with the time before exercise. So the longer the exercise is from the meal, the more calories required. So some examples of some of these smaller foods would be having a sports bar and water, a piece of fruit, a breakfast shake or smoothie, something that you can drink on your way to the gym. Erica, would you mind addressing a little bit with the sports bar? Because in my mind, I think meal replacement versus one of those tiny bars that maybe Slim Fast comes out with that looks like it's about 2 bites. So could you let us know with the sports bar?
And actually, Carol, I think that's a really good point, but I would think a sports bar in this example at only 100 and 200 calories, it would be one of the smaller ones. So okay. You might want to think about the top there of the 300, 500 calories more than a couple hours beforehand. That could be like let's say a standard Cliff bar, the standard size, yeah. And then they have like the Cliff Junior.
Oh, that's right, they do.
Yep, and the Cliff Junior would be more like the size for the 30 to 60 minutes before. It's not an entire meal before you go in. It kind of goes back to another slide we talked about a few minutes ago. The reason that at 30 to 60 minutes you only need something small and carb is that carb is a real fast burn. So normally it takes only about an hour to digest all carbohydrates. So it is something that you get in, it gets burned fairly quickly. Protein, it does take about 4 hours or so to burn protein off. So when you're going to be exercising 4 hours later or for an extended period of time, it can really help sustain the calorie burn or usage in your system. Same thing with the fats. Those take a while. So if you add a little bit of healthy fat into the carbohydrate, or even with, let's say you have a banana and some almonds. So the banana is carbohydrate and the almonds are protein and healthy fats. It can help sustain the energy for a longer workout or if the workout's further away.
Okay. Thanks, Erica. I also like to give examples of bad examples. So one thing that is a good food choice but bad timing would be having a big bowl of oatmeal and milk 5 minutes before a workout. You know, it's a good food choice for the couple hours beforehand, but not immediately before. Same with even having a couple of slices of pepperoni pizza even an hour or 2 hours before may not be the best idea because of the amount of fat that's in it. I had an experience recently where I'd had a nice hummus pita for lunch at 12, and it made me feel good, but then I decided to snack on chocolate-covered peanuts around 3 o'clock, undisclosed amount of chocolate-covered peanuts, and did my workout at 5. I made it through the first half hour of cardio just fine, but when I went to pull a weight, you could believe that I had not an ounce of energy. I had a little bit of a blood sugar crash and then had to go upstairs and eat a real meal. So that was an example of bad timing and bad food choices.
And that always, when people put the two together, it's one of those things that you just don't always realize that the type of food that you choose and or the hydration that you have can really affect how you perform in your activity. And we see that a lot with people who are actually performance-based athletes too. They're trying to get something out of the activity or get to a certain level, and just by the right foods and the right fluids and amounts, you can really get a better performance.
Okay. Next slide, we're talking about eating habits after exercise. So you want to replenish your body with the snack or meal within 15 to 30 minutes after the exercise program. So as a reminder, the protein helps promote muscle repair. Carbohydrates, they help replenish energy stores and restore blood sugar levels. That's why we encourage you to have a combination of the two together. So the combination of the two macronutrients can help for optimal recovery, rather than just having like maybe a bowl of popcorn. You have something like, it could be cheese and crackers, it could be apple with string cheese, something like that. It could be a small piece of lean turkey with whole wheat pita.
Your apple and cream cheese is a great example because, I'm sorry, the string cheese, apple and string cheese.
Oh, I love it.
Because the apple is a great carbohydrate. It's got a little bit of fiber in there, and then to slow the digestion a bit. But then the protein from the string cheese. And I wanted to point out that 10 to 20 grams is there. It's kind of elusive. What the heck is that, right? A string cheese is about 1 ounce of cheese and has about 8 grams of protein in it. So that is about the size that you would be wanting to eat. 1 ounce of cheese, or that 8 ounces of milk, or kind of only 1 to 2 ounces of like a turkey. You can even have like a turkey, half a turkey sandwich here. So a piece of bread for your carb and 2 ounces of turkey, and you're good to go.
Good, yeah. A little bit of lettuce, and you got
tomato.
Yep, got it covered. Then we want to talk a little bit about calorie balance. You don't want to ruin your workout. Some people, they work out in order to eat, and it's all right as long as you maintain an energy balance. You don't want to be this person who exercises really hard and then ends up, taking in more calories than you burned. One of my favorite examples is myself. I'm an avid walker, and I love to walk, a brisk 2-mile walk. Maybe it takes me 30 minutes. But then as my post-exercise snack, if I eat a couple handfuls of wheat thins and most of a container of hummus, I've just undone the caloric burn. Not to say that I do that, but it's very tempting to after the workout.
For me, like if I put in all that work, even for a week, you put in all this work to fit in the exercise and do the exercise, and then, man, you don't exercise on the weekend, or you eat more than you usually do. It's kind of like, I did this a few weekends ago. I get to that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I kind of just undid exactly what I did all week. And you start to build that kind of feeling of you just want to keep up the good habits instead of like kind of sabotaging yourself.
Right, and that's we said in an earlier slide, the days you don't exercise, it's still important what you eat and drink. Okay, so we're going to talk about staying hydrated. It's important, no matter if you're an exerciser or not, to drink frequently throughout the day. You don't want to wait till you're thirsty. You want to be sipping water, 30 to 60 minutes before exercise, and then continuously even throughout the exercise session. Right before exercise isn't a good idea to chug 40 ounces of water. It tends to slosh around in the stomach. Just make sure you have small sips throughout, right beforehand and throughout your exercise session. So why is hydration even important? Well, if you're not hydrated, it can hinder your weight loss. Water and fluids are essential for energy for exercise. It gives you energy for daily activities, and staying hydrated helps prevent muscle cramps. Now, there are foods out there that have fluid and then low-calorie liquids you can choose from if water is not your favorite thing in the world. So berries, watermelon's a great source of fluid, even bananas. And then Crystal Light, things like Gatorade, coffee, and tea. A quick note with the coffee and tea, caffeinated coffee and tea is a diuretic, so sometimes it makes you go to the bathroom, so you want to be sure that you're drinking a lot of water to offset that. Erica, you want to say something? You want to smack my hand for saying something about coffee.
Well, it's one of those weird things with coffee and tea is that it goes back and forth. It's one of those controversial issues out there of, is it a dehydrator? Is it a hydrator? Science kind of goes back and forth on it constantly. Right now, the clinical review on it is that those are hydrators. But we also know that there are chemicals within coffee and tea that speed up our metabolism a bit, and therefore the water goes through us a little more quickly. So I tend to think of those like 80% of it is water. So if you drink 10 ounces of coffee, then you're really getting about 8 ounces of hydration fluid in there. You did mention the things like the foods that have fluid in them or lots of liquid in them. A lot of people don't either like to drink a lot of beverages, or they just don't. They don't think about it. It gets in the day like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot to drink anything today. So it's another way to stay hydrated, especially things like if you're being active in extreme weather temperatures too. We tend to go through our fluid needs more quickly, and therefore you need more of it, and not always have fluid on you either. So if you carry a cup of berries with you, or even most fruits and vegetables have quite a bit of fluid in there. The other thing I want to mention with the actual beverages that are on there, things like Gatorade or sports drinks, you definitely don't need those things unless you are working out in extreme temperatures or for extreme periods of time. Those things are meant to replace electrolytes that are usually sweat out during, quote, extreme activity versus our standard walking, running for an hour or less. So be careful of using things like the sports drinks. You can also get some of these hydration stuff through some of these, for extreme athletes, again, like some of those gel packs and such. So they do have their place. I'm not saying they don't, but they aren't usually in need for everybody.
Well, that goes along with our next slide, foods that can hinder exercise. So one of the things on this list are energy drinks. And I know like the Monster or the Red Bull are popular, but they're usually packed with sugar and can cause an energy crash during exercise, not unlike my chocolate-covered peanuts.
Right. Oh, and also with caffeine, and that goes to the diet soda too, is that caffeine, that's one of the diuretic items. It also is something that caffeine increases your appetite. So there are some negatives in the caffeine component as well.
And then the diet soda can help promote bloated feelings during exercise and could lead to the consumption of other sweet foods. What kind of news is there on that diet soda increases my likelihood to grab something sweet?
Right. You get used to sweet. I mean, once you get it, if you like it, there is a lot of research out there how the brain then will seek it. So even though it's not real sugar, it still has a mimicking sweetness to it within your brain. So your brain is then seeking out more sweet foods, so it leads to increased consumption. And the bloated feeling during exercise, that's usually from the carbonation. Okay. So it's not always just for this diet soda. It could be carbonated waters as well.
We do that. Okay, that's a great point to make. Supplements also, you want to be careful of products that claim to give you energy all day long. There's not sufficient enough research on that. One of the examples would be like ginseng that can claim to give you energy all day long. We need to know the research. We need to see the studies out there before we can go along with those claims.
Yeah, there are quite a few. There's different names to them as well, and so something like ginseng, there are about 4 or 5 other names that mean about the same effects on your body. So you do want to just be really careful of things that have, give you energy, they usually speed up your heart rate as well. And speed up your heart rate when you're going in an activity session is not a good thing, I wouldn't think, right?
No, and oftentimes those energy drinks or energy boosters come with a high-calorie price tag.
Yep, definitely. Thank you.
All right, some final notes on this, just some key points I want to drive home. It's important to eat both before and after exercise. Food gives you energy, and it helps your body repair. So you want to choose best foods to fuel your body, so we're looking at a combination of protein and carbohydrates and even a little bit of fat. And stay away from the chocolate-covered peanuts. Energy balance, calories burned versus calories taken in. That's the wheat thin and hummus story after a 2-mile walk. You want to think about what you're putting in your body if weight loss is your goal. And the final note: stay hydrated. Keep sipping that water. Keep sipping caffeine-free, sugar-free beverages, and make sure that you keep your body as well hydrated as possible before, during, and after your exercise. So what's coming up next? Well, next Thursday, the next part of our webinar series is about stress and exercise. And then the last one on April 11th is about getting started on an exercise program and keeping it up. At this point, I think we can go with questions, Erica. If you
I think that,
got a couple minutes.
We're doing a great job, and we have a few questions on the screen. Let's bring up the screen here because it's a little small.
Okay, this is really good information. Please email me a copy after the webinar. Yeah, we will definitely do that. No worries. And if you have other questions, you can feel free to email me after this. And Erica, this one's probably for you. Is all milk created equal? Cow, goat, soy, almond, etc.?
Not exactly. Your cow's milk has the vitamin A, D in there naturally. Whereas the goat, soy, almond are fortified with them. So they are a little different. The almond, soy, or most plant-based milk alternatives also usually have a little different fat makeup. They will have more unsaturated fats than a cow or goat milk would. But that's also like taking the cow's milk and then taking the fat out to create the skim cow's milk. Still have the nutrients of the regular, but without the added fat. So it really does depend on your needs. If you have any allergies, this lactose intolerance, there are lots of things that go into which milk that you might like and might drink.
We have a couple of questions that are similar, and they involve protein shakes. So the questions are, is a protein shake a good thing to have before a workout, after a workout, no matter what the duration of the workout is?
I think it goes back to the timing beforehand and the portion of the protein shake that you have. I think that's a really important thing because, if you are going into a 40-minute workout and it's within an hour beforehand, you may want to have like 8 ounces or less of a protein-based shake. You really don't need a lot of extra carbohydrate and or protein for that, as well as we're talking about with having fluid in your stomach when you get activity going around. So it might be something that you want to think about afterwards for some more repair. So maybe having a small carbohydrate snack 30 to 60 minutes before, like maybe here's your banana, let's say, and then afterwards have the 8 ounce or less protein shake to help you repair, put your proteins into repair with muscles, your fluid rehydration, as well as the carbs to keep that that blood sugar up.
Okay, that's great information. I believe that is it, and we are actually out of time. I want to thank you all for spending part of your Thursday afternoon when it's so nicely sunny outside. Thank you for choosing to spend it with us, and we hope you'll tune in to the webinar next week. So thank you all, and have a great afternoon.